Good morning, children. Today we are going to see Chemistry, Chapter 16, Water, a Precious Resource. So, in the introduction part of this chapter, we saw about the various sources of water on the earth's surface, oceans and seas, and the freshwater sources were discussed. The freshwater sources include groundwater, rainwater, lakes, ponds, and rivers, and the uses of water. So, this basics you have already learnt in your grade 6, right? So, today we are moving to the next part, how water reaches the earth. How the water reaches the earth. So, this is nothing but your water cycle. You have already learnt in grade 6, but yet we'll see this. Okay. Before seeing the water cycle, when is the World Water Day? On which date we celebrate it as World's Water Day? It is on 22nd of March. Every year on 22nd of March, the whole world celebrates the abundant source of water as its gift, and we are thankful to the nature. So 22nd of March will be considered as your World Water Day. Okay. We know that there is no scarcity of water in our region, but people across the world, some regions suffer insufficient amount of water. Why is it so? So first you should know, how do we get water? We get water in the form of rainfall. Does it mean that the people suffering or without water do not get rainfall? Yes, it is the reason. Why don't we get rain? Because people cut down the trees. Deforestation is the most serious issue of water scarcity. What is the meaning of scarcity, children? Scarcity means insufficient or less amount of water. Anything. Scarcity means it can be of anything, but the meaning is it is insufficient, not enough. Abundance means it is of more. So, in our country, India itself, Cherrapunji of Meghalaya receives the highest amount of rainfall, whereas Rajasthan receives a less amount of rainfall. There are the places where we could see deserts with no rainfall throughout the year. Yes? So, why is there a difference? The answer is water cycle. If we plant more trees, the water gets transpired and it again reaches back to the earth as water. Okay. So today we'll see only about the water cycle, and in the next class we can discuss in detail about the differences in the abundance and scarcity of rainfall and the sufferings of people due to that. Okay, so in the water cycle, the first process is your evaporation. You would have look at this image, you have the land area with the trees and ponds, rivers on it, and you have the oceans and seas on the earth's surface. So during the daytime, the sun shines brightly. Due to the heat of the sun, the water evaporates. As you know already, from your lower grades, you have learned that water exists in three forms. What are the three forms of water? Solid, liquid, and gas. Solid form of water is ice. Liquid form of water is nothing but water. Gaseous form of water is water vapor or steam. Right? So, when the water is heated, it vaporizes and releases out the water vapor into the atmosphere. So the same thing happens when the sun shines brightly during the daytime. The water from the lakes, rivers, oceans and seas are evaporated. These water vapors travel high enough to the sky. Not only evaporation happens, but also transpiration happens during the daytime. What is transpiration? This you know already. Transpiration is nothing but the loss of water by the plants in the form of vapors. So plants also have water inside them. The plants have the water content. They absorb water from the roots and they transport it to the leaves, and photosynthesis happens for them to prepare their food, right? So during this process, transpiration also occurs simultaneously. The sun also absorbs the water from the plants. The loss of water from the plants in the form of vapors is called transpiration. So these are the first stage of water cycle. Evaporation and transpiration happens during the daytime. That is, the water is transferred into vapors and reaches high into the sky. Now what happens next? The water vapors are collected in the sky, okay, and they are cooled down. So once the all the water vapors is nothing but in the form of gas, right? So these gaseous molecules, as they travel high into the sky, they are collected and they form together as clouds. When they cool down, they form the clouds by the process condensation. So condensation is nothing but cooling of water vapors reaching the sky to form clouds. Did you understand how clouds is formed? So whenever someone asks you how the clouds are formed, your answer should be the water escaped into the sky by the process of evaporation and transpiration as vapors reach the sky and starts to cool down by the process of condensation, and this is how the clouds are formed. Okay. So more and more amount of water vapors, once they are reached into the clouds, they cannot carry more than that, more than a certain limit. So what do? They burst out. The clouds start to burst out. So what is present inside the clouds? It is nothing but your cooled water vapors. Water vapors are cooled means it becomes as liquid water drops. So when the clouds burst, the water falls down to the earth again as raindrops by the process precipitation. So precipitation means the bursting of clouds through which the water again reaches the earth as raindrops. Rainfall, hail or snow, all these are all the forms of precipitation. How the water reaches back again to the earth. Okay? Now, with this alone, the cycle does not stop, children. Once the raindrops fall on the ground, there occurs two important processes. One is infiltration and the other one is runoff. Runoff is nothing but the surface run of water. Once the rain comes, the water flows down on the roads, on the ground, yes, and they reach towards the rivers. So this lead to the development of rainwater harvesting, which you learned last year. So the main purpose of rainwater harvesting is to collect and store the rainwater to prevent the surface runoff. So we are able, and it is our responsible to collect the rainwater. Yes, so this is what we developed, and we are practicing the method of rainwater harvesting, surface runoff rainwater harvesting and rooftop rainwater harvesting. Two methods are there in the collection and storage of rainwater. Surface runoff water, right? And the next thing is infiltration. Infiltration is nothing but filtration, penetration. The raindrops which fall on the earth gets absorbed by the soil on the ground, and it reaches to the underground water table. So groundwater is nothing but the water present in the underground layers of the earth between the soil layers. So, once the rain falls, some of this water is absorbed by the soil and they penetrate into the underground water table, thereby increasing its level. Okay, so again the cycle continues with the evaporation and transpiration. So this cycle of how the water reaches to the atmospheric sky and again reaches to the earth's surface, it falls down to the earth as rain or hail or snow. And how do we collect it for a future purpose by the rainwater harvesting method is your water cycle. Okay, children. So read these pages in your textbook, and if you have any doubt, kindly contact me. Thank you, children.